Hey guys, Useless here, and because I am great at keeping up with current events, I'm going to be reacting to this critical drinker video about the whole Rachel Zegler situation. So, I guess I'll caveat it a bit. I have heard a couple things about what she said, and I guess I'll wait for him to like provide more context, and I'll talk about it as I go. But my base level take on the situation is I think she said some things that are pretty dumb for you to say, like, if you're marketing your movie. um but I personally don't know if I really care that much. And I'm sure I'll expound on those thoughts as the video goes along, so let's hit play.
You know, sometimes in life you just can't catch a break, and it seems like everything you do to try to fix the situation only ends up pushing things from bad to worse to catastrophic.
True.
Like, I once saw a drunk guy stagger out of a late night takeaway with a kebab in hand, only to lose his grip on his prized lump of artery clogging saturated
What
meat
accent
and
is this?
fumble to
Is he British? Or is that like Scottish? I sincerely have no idea. Like I think it's Scottish? Or is it some weird British? I don't know. Somebody comment and tell me.
catch it before it fell to the ground, causing him to lose his balance and
Ground.
stumble face first
What is
into a
that?
plate glass window. And thinking about that poor unfortunate drunken soul who had to retreat home with no food, a bloody nose, bruised ego, and the mocking laughter of me and my friends ringing in his ears, I'm reminded of Snow White actress Rachel Zegler, who seems to be single-handedly tanking the box office prospects of her multi-million-dollar movie, to the point where even industry
That's also like I have to say, because I've honestly for a long time I've been of the opinion, I'm like, does any of this stuff really matter when it comes to the box office? But I feel like does internet sort of chitter chatter really affect box office? But I don't know, man. When you look at like the success of something like The Sound of Freedom, or like Barbie, where I mean, do I think that the Barbenheimer meme like is the ultimate reason for the success of Barbie? I'm like, not necessarily, because it's like the movie had to be like good, or at the very least people had to like genuinely enjoy it in order for it to be as big as it was. But I don't think you can deny that that Barbie or Oppenheimer, like the initial sort of push for those movies, I do think you can say that it's I do think that you can assume that it was probably because of the meme. And then like so I from that I go, would this like stupid internet controversy, could this really lead, like could that really be the reason for Snow White bombing? And then I'm like, well, it's not going to help, so I don't know. And then I mean, obviously people like like the critical drinker who, for being honest here, have a bit of a political agenda. They're no doubt going to blame, like, if it bombs, they're gonna blame it on the on the internet controversy, right? They're gonna ignore any other possible context of Disney movies not doing particularly well in general. They're gonna ignore the context of, you know, Disney Plus kind of ruining a lot of theatrical interest for a lot of these projects. All of that context is going to be ruined. It's definitely going to be because of the controversy. But again, like I'm saying, I don't know if you can I don't know if I can sort of still hold a position that I used to hold, where I was like, well, it's internet stuff, who cares? Because I think it's probably going to have some effect.
experts are warning that she's rapidly turning into box office poison. See, one of the weird little side effects of the current Hollywood strikes,
Although I guess I
is
also
that there's
didn't
not a
read
whole
that
lot of
article there.
news and controversy coming out of Tinseltown right now, which has given the internet a bit more time to reflect on other things, like past interviews on the subject of Snow White that were largely ignored at the time, but have soon come back to haunt Disney and Rachel in recent weeks. And holy shit, have they provided fertile ground for backlash and mockery.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved.
Yes, I mean that's the one that I saw. I think the first comment, it's like, so she was scared of Snow White when she was a kid. I don't know why anybody would care about that. It's like, it's fine. You're gonna get mad at a child for being scared of a movie as a child. That's a weird thing to get mad about. Then you have, but yeah, I think when she says that it's not 1937, and then Gal Gadot sort of comes in and she's saying that the prince isn't gonna save the princess. I mean, it should be noted that they didn't write the script, like that is something that I think people should probably take into account, that they did not write the script. So what I don't know for a fact that change was made like because of that sort of ideological mindset. I mean, it probably was like again, if we're trying to be intellectually honest here. I mean, they were probably told, right, that would have been the reason, if they're coming out and saying that. But I'm just saying we don't know for a fact. I do think that that's pretty silly. Like, I'm not saying that maybe your idea for a story is just different, so you have Snow White escape herself or something. Like that's fine. I don't inherently have a problem with that, but I think to say that it's like wrong for a story to be made where the prince saves the princess because, I don't know, feminism or whatever. If that really was the ideological sort of basis for making that decision, I think that's a little silly. But then this is where my mind goes to as well. I'm like, at the end of the day, if I'm watching the movie and it plays out well, I also don't know if I necessarily care that much. It's like, because at the end of the day, if it's a good movie, then whatever, Like I've never watched the original Snow White either, so like I wouldn't have even noticed that was a thing. Because that's also the other thing. It's like, why are you spoiling your movie? It's like, what if that was going to be a twist where it's like, oh, the princess saves herself? Why would you spoil that? Like, let that be a thing that we discover while watching the movie. I don't know. That seems also from that point of view, it's a weird thing to say. But yeah.
Saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
Reality is that the cartoon was made.
Yeah, so is that a change? Was she not a leader in the thing? Was her whole thing like, I don't know, like Ariel, where oh was Ariel's thing true love? I don't even know. I guess Ariel's thing was she wanted to just learn about humans or something. It wasn't necessarily about true love. What was that a thing in the cartoon, that she's looking for true love? I don't know.
Years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in role.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to say any of this. It's like even if this was the intention, right? Like it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, just do it. Just let your art speak for itself. You don't need to come out and dissect your own movie. I like that's honestly like the main thing for me, where I'm like that's fine. That is legitimately fine at the end of the day if you want to do that. Like, I don't care that much. Do I think it's wrong to have the prince save the princess? No, I think it's totally fine if that's also the story that you want to tell. I don't think there's anything like morally wrong with that. But like, if you want to do a different thing, then I personally don't care that much. But just do it. You don't consume my movie for me. I feel like I'm like a baby bird, and my mom is eating up my movie and then spitting it in my mouth. I don't know why I had to go to this analogy, but I feel like someone's like consuming my movie for me and then telling me what it's about. It's like, just in general, I'm like, why are you spoiling like plot details? It's just a bizarre thing to do. I don't know.
Of power.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
But it's really not about.
I mean, that's totally fair. I remember that as well. Like, people were being like, she's so entitled. She deserves. She's asking for residuals. It's like, what? No. what do you think they're all there marching for? They're marching for better or for more fair wages. What? That's what the march is about. Like, that comment there, I've literally no problem with. Like, I don't know what people are like getting mad at her for that for.
The love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows?
Shite.
Yeah, I mean that part as well. I don't like. I mean that's more of what I want to see. Give me some of that ambiguity. Does she find true love? Does she not find true love? I want that. That having that be a mystery is good. I guess. I don't know. Like it's like. But the fact that I know for a fact that she's not going to get saved now is just weird. Because I'm like, let me experience that myself in the movie. Why? I thought you, for some reason, I thought you needed a shovel to make a boat. Okay.
Shite. Oh yes, that's shite.
No offense, Rachel, but you're making it pretty tough for people to like you. Now, I don't pretend to know what.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that point either. It's like these clips aren't necessarily like. I'm not gonna like use these clips to say whether or not I like or dislike her. It's like just because someone maybe has like a position on media that I disagree with, like if she thinks that it's like bad for a princess to be saved, that's her opinion. I don't know. I don't dislike her because of that. It's like, I think that's kind of a weird thing.
What exactly was going on in her head when she said stuff like this. Maybe she was just a bit nervous and overwhelmed by all the attention and didn't know how to respond with the kind of slick, blandly diplomatic answers that a more experienced celebrity might have given. Maybe it's because she's young and idealistic and just
Also, I will say, I don't like what I do like is that sure, she seems to be like genuine here. It's like, I also don't know that like I guess like I would just ask people that are like super mad at her for saying these things. It's like, do you want her to lie? Like is that what you want? Like do you want her to like not be her genuine self? Like, is that actually like what you want out of her? Because the thing that at the end of the day should be said is that the actor's opinion on any of this kind of stuff is literally irrelevant to the quality of the movie. like I said before, she didn't write the script. So her saying any of these things means literally nothing, you know? And her thinking these things is not really going to affect her performance at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, it's up to the director to get the performance that they want out of it. You know, it's like when people get mad because like an actor like didn't consume the source material of like an adaptation, right? I remember when Pedro Pascal was like, "Yeah, I didn't play The Last of Us. I watched my nephew play some of it, but I didn't consume the whole thing." And people were like, "No, this is bad. His performance is gonna be bad because he didn't play game." And it's like, no, like it's up to the director to get the performance that he wants out of his actor. It actually doesn't matter that much whether or not an actor has likes or even has seen the original source material. So I do want to point that out as well.
Out the first thing that came into her head about the movie and the character, and so I don't really want to dump on her too much for all this controversy. Yeah, she's definitely creating the impression of a spoiled, entitled, narcissistic actor who totally doesn't.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, you haven't provided anything that makes me think that she's spoiled or even narcissistic necessarily. Like, the actors are on strike right now. So she just described why she thinks that she should be paid more. That's what every actor is doing right now. They're negotiating with the studios in order to get higher wages. I don't see anything narcissistic about that.
Doesn't appreciate the amazing opportunity she's been given. Yeah, her comments on the actors' strike were.
Oh, that's so cringe. It's like, oh, yeah. See, this I definitely don't agree with this. This idea that like I honestly feel like most actors, like whenever they're like in a big franchise IP and they're like, Star Wars is the biggest, most important thing ever, and I feel so proud and I feel so grateful to be a part of this and blah blah blah. I don't know. Maybe there's just the cynic in me, but I feel like most of that stuff is so disingenuous. I'm like, you don't care about Star Wars that much. Stop lying to me. You're fibbing. You're fibbing, and I don't believe you. I don't know. Like all that stuff feels so fake to me. Like, again, one aspect of her saying all this stuff is that I think she's being genuine. Like, I think she's just kind of saying what she genuinely believes. And I kind of like that. I ain't mad at it. It's weird because I ask a lot of the people that are like super angry about this. I'm like, so you just want her to lie? I get it from like obviously like the Walt Disney, the corporation, the mega corporation is probably like, shut up, Mr. Zegler. You have to be talking about how Snow White is the most amazing thing ever and how it inspired you to want to become an actress as a... Oh, good Lord Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. I definitely can't take those guys on. I'm not even gonna try because I can't. I literally cannot. We're just... Oh, okay. Okay. Um, 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 anyways, I have no idea what I was gonna say. What was I saying? What was I yapping about? I don't know. What? I'm sorry, he scared me. I forgot. I'm just gonna press the play on the video.
Pretty poorly judged for someone getting paid more from one movie than most actors make in their entire lives. And yeah, the things she's saying about Snow White make it seem like the very antithesis of the animated.
Yeah, it's like, when we're talking about like residuals and stuff and what they're arguing for, it's like, you realize she's arguing for those other actors as well. Like, when they're on strike, they are arguing for all actors, for the contracts for all actors to be changed. It's like you realize that, right? When she's making those arguments, she's not just talking about herself. What is this weird argument? I don't know.
A classic that stood the test of time a lot better than her own movies likely to. But really, when you get right down to it, she's just...
I mean, to be fair, she was in West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg. I want to say it was nominated for Best Picture, was it not? Like, it's a pretty good debut movie to start off your career with. I don't know. That's my opinion. That's an all right movie to start off with. Now, yes, she was also in Shazam: Fury of the Gods, but I will say, I will admit, she was pretty damn good in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Like, I obviously nobody watched the movie. I'm like one of the 5 people that watched it, but like she was definitely one of the highlights of the movie. So I'm just saying she's a good actress. Like I actually do like her, as an actress. Like even if she was a bad person or whatever, which I don't think I don't feel like I have no anywhere near enough on information to like make that claim. But it's like even if she was like kind of a mean person, she doesn't take away from the fact that she's a pretty good actress. Like she's good, and at the end of the day, it's like that's ultimately what matters, right? Like if she's good in the movie, she's good in the movie. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Just throwing some more of that facts and knowledge out there.
Just
what you're here for.
Dumb actor saying what she thinks people want to hear. The bigger problem is the studio culture that someone like Zegler represents, because you can bet your left arse cheek that most of these talking points were handed to her directly by the PR people at Disney. Yeah,
No. What are you talking? The PR people at Disney, they absolutely did not tell her to shit on the original Snow White. Okay, I understand that a lot of these people, they have this like idea that like there's like a secret like agenda in Hollywood or whatever to like, I don't know, make the kids gay or whatever by like destroying all of the old media and ruining everything it stands for. It's like, guys, let's just think about this rationally for a second here. Disney is like $1 billion whatever corporation. They get most of their revenue by riding high off of their old properties. That leeching off of their old properties, that is where they get most of their revenue. I don't care if you think that their new mandated agenda, whatever, blah blah blah. If you think that it leads to them being mandated to like shit all over old properties. Snow White is like one of the seminal Disney movies. Okay, Snow White, like. Little girls are going to Disney World dressed as Snow White, blah, blah, blah. Disney absolutely did not tell Rachel Zegler to shit on the original Snow White. It's just not true. It's just not true. Like, if anything, they would have told her to do the opposite, right? Like, if you look at, like, Halle Bailey's interviews, like when I heard like Halle Bailey talking about, oh, I loved Snow White when I was a kid. I've always wanted to be Ariel. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not saying that she's lying necessarily either, but it's like that sounded more like PR speak to me, in my opinion. It's like when I see somebody like acting like the original IP is like the greatest thing ever since the history of mankind, even Jesus Christ's return won't compare to it. It's like, I don't know. To me, that sounds way faker than Rachel Zegler speaking like mildly critically of Snow White. And not even mildly critically, just being like, yeah, I was kind of scared of it, and some of the elements of it are kind of outdated. Like, I don't know. You guys are wildin' if you honestly believe that Disney told her to shit on the original Snow White. That's just Looney Tunes, in my opinion.
She might not have phrased them in the most elegant way, but the sentiment they represent is dead on brand for a company that's become the studio equivalent of a snake eating its own tail, desperately cannibalizing their back catalogue of classic movies in an increasingly futile attempt to stay relevant. See, when it comes to their other live-action remakes of animated movies, they were generally smart enough to stay pretty quiet about the little changes they were sneaking in for modern audiences. Yeah, sometimes actors and writers would slip up and say a bit more than they were supposed to, and things got a bit more overt with Peter Pan and the Little Mermaid.
That was fun.
I mean, what are the... I don't even... God, I mean, I wish I was more knowledgeable at this, but like, what do you... In like Aladdin, what were the modern things that they did? I don't even remember. Like what? I guess somebody can tell me. Did they even like modernize that in some way? I guess is it because they gave Jasmine like a new song about her talking about how much of a boss queen she is? I think didn't they do that? Wasn't that a song that they added? Maybe. I don't remember. I guess. Oh yeah, and Beauty and the Beast. Didn't they make like the Hawkeye? That's the villain in the original movie. Didn't they make him gay or something? I think was that a thing? I don't even remember. And it's like when I look at like the Little Mermaid, didn't they literally just make her black? Is that like the evil wokening? I'm pretty sure they just made her black. Like, oh wait, no, they also did the thing where they I think Ariel wasn't saved by the prince. I think, but again, I just like I got is that woke? I guess to have Ariel not be saved by the prince to just like change the plot slightly. I don't know. Like also from what I remember in the Little Mermaid remake, isn't Eric more of a character in that one? Because like he has his own sort of desires to help people or something. Why am I walking towards the pillager thing? I don't know why. I saw it and I was like, oh, that's a cool outpost, and then I didn't realize it was a pillager outpost, so I'm not gonna go to it. I'm gonna run away. Gonna swim away actually. But yeah, I'm like, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe there were more like. Maybe I'm just forgetting some of the other things that were in the other movies, but it's like when I look at like the Peter Pan and Wendy, is it just because they changed the races of the characters? Is it just because Tinkerbell is black and Peter Pan is vaguely ethnic? I don't know what I don't know what ethnicity is. Like it, like and then this is also the thing where it seems he's being like. I don't know, like what I'm getting from what he's saying is that he's saying that the reason why the other remakes were successful is because they sneakily hid away the wokeness and audiences were they tricked the audiences into seeing them because they didn't realize that it was woke. And then now because their movies aren't as successful, well, it's because they're out in the open with their wokeness and they're changing races and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, are we really? Are you really? Is what we're saying right now that people didn't watch the new Little Mermaid movie, right? Because it made significantly less than the other remakes. It's like, are we saying that not as many people watched that remake because they're racist? Because they just saw Black Ariel? Because I'm like, because for me, because I'd like to think critically about these things, I don't know that I'm ready to just call general audiences racist. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. Like, I think that there's just a general, I think you can only make so many, like, I have other explanations for this kind of thing where I'm like, I think it's probably the case that, you can only make so many like mediocre live action remakes until people get tired of them. I think you have to look at the Disney Plus for diluting these brands. I think there's other things that you can look at before jumping to audiences are racist. They saw the Black Little Mermaid and they saw the brown Peter Pan, and they said, "This ain't my Disney. This ain't my Disney. No, sorry. I ain't watching that." I don't know that I think so little of audiences that they just stopped watching because it's woke. I don't know that I buy that. But anyways, I'm also, to be fair, I put a little bit of words in Critical Drinker's mouths. I just kind of going by what I think he might be getting at. So maybe I done goofed on that one.
But for the most part, they were content to pay tribute to the originals and market the remakes as respectful adaptations. Right from the off, though, they seem to have
Why did he pronounce that like that? Adaptations. Is that a British thing and or Scottish thing? Am I racist for pointing it out? I don't know. Sorry, I had to reset my camera. Will I edit that out? Probably not.
Approach with Snow White. It feels like they're making a concerted effort to cast the original movie as some horribly dated relic of a bygone era that we're all supposed to look back on and laugh.
Again, I just don't know. I don't buy that. I don't care what conspiracy theory that you have of Hollywood trying to make your kids gay or blah blah blah. There's simply no way that a billion-dollar corporation is going to tell their actors to trash on one of their most valuable IP. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't know. That just doesn't. I don't buy this. I think I reject the notion.
With the benefit of our modern enlightened hindsight, Rachel certainly doesn't think much of it, and neither does Gal Gadot if their interviews are anything to go by. And ironically, there's something weirdly outdated now about turning the main character into this fanatically independent, power-hungry girl boss who doesn't need a man. It's the kind of talking points that were all the rage 5 or 6 years ago, when this whole movement in Hollywood was still in its infancy, but that was then, and this is now. The strong female lead isn't the fresh new concept it was back in 2016.
Can you really put Ray in that? I'm trying to remember. God, I try to forget those movies. Can you really put Ray in that bucket? Because I just remember being gaslit by people. Because I remember when I watched The Last Jedi or whatever, not The Last Jedi, but I vividly remember watching The Rise of the Skywalker, and that movie was literally Rey getting beaten up by Kylo Ren. Throughout that entire movie, it's just Rey losing in a fight to Kylo Ren. And I'm like, in what universe is this character a Mary Sue that needs no man? What are we even talking about right now? What you guys I'm watching the movie, guys. I'm able to see it along with you. You're just lying to me. So I don't know. I don't know if Rey's a Mary Sue.
In fact, even in the mainstream media, there's a growing acceptance that this kind of bland, superficial archetype has run its course, to the point where it's become kind of a meme in its own right. Either way though, I can't help wondering, is this really the attitude you want to display towards one of the most beloved animated movies of all time? The one that literally made Disney what it—
Sure, I don't think it's smart to say any of this. Because obviously, I am in the minority where I don't care if an actor doesn't like the source material of what they're starring in the adaptation of. That was a bit of a mouthful, but I think you understand what I said. Where it's as long as they're a good actor, and the movie's good, kind of just don't care. But I don't disagree that most people that hear about it probably will care. Most people that grew up with Snow White and be like, how could you say that about my favorite movie of all time? How dare you, Rachel Zegler? I don't deny that is going to be most people's reaction probably.
it is today? Do you really want to be seen shitting on the accomplishments of previous generations when your own efforts are probably never going to reach the same heights of cultural influence? Because at a certain point, it really just comes across as a jealous, envious attempt to drag down other people's work rather than elevating your own.
I don't know. It seems like a little bit of a weird psychoanalysis or whatever. Because at the end of the day, it's if that's her opinion, then whatever. Is that is her expressing her opinion this big of a deal where it's you gotta character assassinate her like this? Do we need to cancel Rachel Zegler over having a silly opinion about Snow White? Does she really have to become enemy number one over having... And admittedly, I think it's a bit of a silly opinion on media. But, do we have to call her jealous and, say that she's trying to, drag down other people's... I don't know. I mean, I guess she is literally dragging down the original Snow White, I guess. But, do we really have to, virtue signal this hard over like media opinions, because you could say that about anything, right? Like anybody could watch a Critical Drinker review and just be like, oh well, he's just jealous, you know. Like I think he gave a negative review of Barbie. Like I could easily say the same and be like, well, he's just jealous that he's never gonna make a movie that's as culturally significant as Barbie. It's like he's just jealous because he's probably never gonna make a movie. You know, it's like that's just it's like he's just trying to tear down. And it's like yeah, by giving a negative review, it's like I guess you are technically tearing down something, but like you're allowed to do that. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. And I'll reiterate everything that I'm saying just so that I don't get like taken out of context or whatever. I agree that it is bad PR. Like it is dumb to say the things that she has said. From like a businessman perspective. As just like a general fan perspective, I don't think it ultimately matters because she's a good actress. And as long as the movie's good, then I kind of don't care. Like if Robert Pattinson came out tomorrow and he was like, I kind of hate Batman, well, I'll bring out that George Lopez line in Blue Beetle. I'll be like, if Robert Pattinson came out and was like, Batman's kind of a fascist. I don't know if I really like this character. I'd be like, I disagree, Robert, but you're still the best Batman ever of all time that's ever lived. I'm not going to not watch The Batman Part 2. I'm not going to say that he should be recast because he's incredible in the role. So, like, none of this matters, Like Anthony Hopkins, for example. I remember he came out and he said that he didn't really care about the Marvel movies that he was in. But you know what? He's really great as Odin. Like, I don't care. I couldn't care less if Anthony Hopkins like doesn't like Marvel movies. Hell, you know what? I'll even go so far. I'm not gonna like. Martin Scorsese has said a bunch of silly things about comic book movies. If Martin Scorsese was like, you know what? I have an interesting idea about a Daredevil movie. I kind of want to direct a Daredevil movie. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, Martin Scorsese said that the comic book movies are amusement park rides. I don't want him anywhere near Marvel. Like, what? I would kill. I mean, not really, but I would do some wild things for for a Martin Scorsese directed Marvel movie. Are you kidding? Like I kind of just don't care that much about. Like, I don't think we should necessarily be like get like super in our feelings about opinions that actors have about anything, really. To be honest with you, so I don't know. Food for thought.
As Mahler so aptly puts it in one of his videos, this isn't a passing of the torch, it's a torching of the past. It's a deliberate attempt
Whoa,
to rewrite
bars.
history and destroy the legacy of the thing you're so desperate to supplant, while conveniently forgetting that there's a reason movies like Snow White have been enjoyed by generations of audiences.
Yeah.
The stories they told are
Again, I
timeless
don't think it's that deep.
and universal.
I think it's just an actress giving her opinion. I don't think that it's like some weird like agenda by Disney.
So, instead of trying to catch the ever-changing winds of the political and social zeitgeist, they weren't written for modern audiences, they were written for every audience from the 1930s to the 2020s, and that's precisely why they worked so well. And as much as you and your friends might look down on them and mock them for not aligning with whatever fads and trends happen to be the current thing, the inconvenient truth is that they'll still be remembered long after your own lesser efforts have been forgotten. You are but a passing
it should be noted though that maybe The Little Mermaid not so much, but like the other live action remakes have made so much money, inconceivable amounts of money. So like the idea that like these modern Disney remakes aren't at the very least standing alongside the animated classics, I don't know. I mean, sure, they have like cultural power that probably never gonna match, right? Like to be fair, like yeah, I guess to what I understand, I get what he's saying, but like, But like like at this point, these movies have like cultural power to the extent of like, yeah, like you know what Disney is, you know what Snow White is. But as far as people that like watch these movies and like are actually like into the movies, I would argue that the live action remakes are at least like somewhat matching their successes. You know what I mean? But anyways,
They are history. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
okay. Yeah, I guess so. Just to wrap up what I'm saying here, yeah, I think that what Rachel Zegler said from a PR corporate standpoint is just a little silly goosery. It's some silly goosery. You probably shouldn't say it. It's probably the smart thing to not say those kinds of things. But from just a fan point of view, I don't like this isn't gonna stop me from watching. Like, to be honest, I wasn't necessarily. I'm not the target audience for a Snow White movie, but if I was, these comments wouldn't. They wouldn't be the deciding factor. Like, I would still wait for a trailer, see if the trailer looks any good, and then I would go, make my decision. You know what I mean? Like, again, like I said before, tomorrow, Robert Pattinson could come out and say that the Batman is a terrible character. I hate Bruce Wayne. I hate what Batman represents. I literally will not care even a little bit. Because guess what? Robert Pattinson is incredible as Batman. He is. And him being a bit of a silly goose does not change that. So I guess that's my final word here is don't it's just an actress giving her opinion. You can think it's kind of silly, but I don't think that there's some weird ploy, some weird plot to make you hate classic Disney movies, or at the very least, that has not been proven, right? Like, if you watch this video, he doesn't have secret recordings in boardrooms, right, where Bob Iger is like, we have to destroy the legacy of Snow White. He doesn't have that. He literally just invented the notion that the PR team told her to say these things. And I think if you just use common sense, literally makes zero sense for a $1 billion corporation to tell their actress to shit on one of their most valuable IPs. Does not make any sense. Like, their valuable IP that is going to aid in this remake making money. It doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. So, do with that what you will, and I will see you in the next video. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Goodbye.